Hey everyone, welcome back to the next tutorial for Legends Arceus. This time we're focusing on Catchmore, which is why we're in this intro cutscene for the moment. Catchmore, I'm not gonna go very much into specifics for the 80% part. I'm just gonna mention things that are a bit different, but the most important parts that are really starting is the post game. So you see the length of the recording that I have here. There's lots of skipping to be had because there's so much content that we don't need to look at. Back then I also recorded my breaks and everything. It was literally like the full stream of that day. So yeah, 80% is very much the same at this point. There's nothing different. I do have to note that I got a Pichu. My tracker will say so. If you look at the PB on YouTube, you'll see what I mean. But the most important first difference is, of course, the Burmy here. It's male, so nothing too exciting. But here is a possibility for two spawns. I only got one of them, and these are possible Munchlax spawns. Every tree in this area that we're in will always contain Burmy. So right now I'm just doing the feed tests on Kricketune. Could do it much better probably. I even fucked it up here. Probably not gonna do that research in the future anymore. And when you're up here, when you actually go to this, go up here instead of just checking and like walking more directly to the quest point, you might as well actually peek over the hill here and see if the Munchlax is back there on the last possible spawn slot. Unlike me in this case. So that is the first difference that is of note. So let's go along. I did catch a Pichu earlier. If not, I probably would have considered to go for more checks later on. I'm not sure if I actually do it or not. I haven't seen this PB in a while because this PB is literally a year old. So there's stuff that is definitely outdated. This is not really good to really show you like most up-to-date things. This is just giving you a direction, suggestion, everything. And as you can see, we're already deep diving into the differences. And right here, I like to buy satchels already at the first possible moment when you're already interacting. And I buy up, the last one that I buy is the 1.5k one. I like the money ration that way. Most of the time you'll have enough to buy the 2k one if you really want it. I want extra space, but from experience speaking, I don't think that one extra space is that needed. You don't really run into inventory management issues. Though you might need to maybe discard a useless berry from time to time. So yeah, in this case I would have had enough money for that. And yeah, I'm really loading up my party with Wurmples because regardless of research or not, Wurmple evos are very worth it. Try to get both Silcoon and Cascoon. So yeah, I still do some stuff. Right there, I did check towards those spawns because they could be Pichu or Pikachu. It's always worth a peek. And some of these ores already, like the first ones that you drop down to, they can already contain Firestone. And the forest is the same. You can get a Firestone from those. Always, like when you pick ores, always keep an eye on what is going on over here with the items you get. Ores always give you 5 items, so if you don't get 5 and it says you don't have space for something, you got something unexpectedly that you don't have space for because there's no open slot for it to go into. But yeah, plenty of research and stuff, nothing too crazy. I do my evos, get a Cascoon, get a Silcoon, and I'm good on that. So I got the bare minimum. I got enough to rank up early. It's kind of like the same as usual. And there we go. I got a Pikachu that time around. I don't have a female Burmy, so these trees, when they're shaking, I would still go for them. Try to get Burmy. Here's a Pikachu. Little small drop down. That kind of takes care of Pichu. Doing the breakout stun lock thingy, which always helps, and then, you know, doing the jumps and stuff. Nothing too crazy here. But yeah, it's just some spawns to look out for, like Pikachu, Munchlax. Those are kind of like the important ones to get. Try to get both Silcoon, Cascoon for evos. That is kind of like the focus that you really need to have for the early section. Burmy is always important. The main island in the middle of Fieldlands only contains Burmy trees, so you should be good to go on that. And then, yeah, Mirelands is the start of where I'm tracking the distortion timer. Every time gameplay is paused, like the main overworld gameplay is paused in any way, like a menu, cutscene, Pokemon battle, that pauses the distortion timer. And I have a foot pedal with me that I just click on to start and stop a timer. And it's very nice that way to keep track of the timer of the distortion that way. And that's kind of like a mainstay for the longer categories. And heading into this, you're always at like 15 seconds with your timer. If you've forgotten it until this point, it's a really good way to remember it. Sometimes when I'm like in smaller sections where like, because I don't pause the timer when I collect the Wisp. If I'm like in a smaller section where I'm just running from menu to menu for like a second or two, I don't unpause the timer because I know I'll be off a few seconds thanks to collecting Wisps and not stopping the timer for that. But every time the UI essentially disappears, I'll show you which UI I mean in a moment, while I'm sorting my party for evos. Because I need to evolve the starter, of course. Every time this kind of like UI here stuff, this disappears, that's when the distortion timer also stops essentially. It's a good way to kind of like keep that in mind and everything. I would do the party management later now. I would do that after Toxic Rook, after Wisp 1, but that is just the difference that I have now. Back then I did it a bit differently. There's gonna be a few differences for post-game too, for catching in legendaries, like using Strong Poison Sting, which is 100% guaranteed to poison. And small things like that. Also, that Paras and this Paras can be both Pikachu. Good to know, also up there with Parasect. These can also be Pikachu around the Alpha Raichu. If you want these rare spawns, these are a good way to pick them up. And while we're here, we need to pick up some King's Leaves for crafting items later. And these ores up here have a 5% chance to drop their stone, which is why you should absolutely come up here and get them. In leaf piles, you have a 1% chance to get a leaf stone. I got one of the 5% items with a Thunderstone just now. Only popped up shortly, was quick enough. But I still was quick enough to notice that, so I'm fine on that. The raspberries up here are also very nice for higher level catches, which you tend to get. And yeah, only got a Thunderstone, but it's already progress for me, because that is one of the items kind of required. You can catch the Alpha Raichu, you can get a Jolteon, but from experience speaking, worth it to get. So, already I'm 1.5 minutes into the distortion timer. As I said, I tend to not pause the timer when I do stuff. I get a 1% Water Stone over here, which is fantastic. So, Water Stone, you only have one Pokemon you can evolve with it, which is Vaporeon. So that, I know already that Pokemon is pretty much secured for me, so I just need to get the EVs. In that sense, do inventory management, do more stuff. In this case, because I had to sack stuff, I wanted to heal. So I did that. And as long as you just heal and you don't change the time, you're not gonna destroy the distortion timer, which is fantastic. And now to the first movement difference. As you can see, there's no warp after this. Because we're in a distortion timer, we're essentially kind of like forced to wait a certain amount anyway, although 5 or 10 wouldn't require any waiting at all, even a 15 doesn't. You can kind of like scale along here if you look at where the brown patches are. Kind of like follow those for better pathing. If you're higher up, of course, you can actually essentially land up here. I still want to get that ore, but I just had to give up. And you can actually use these rocks to stand on. As you can see, I can just jump over. And now I loot a tree that could have Cherubi. I did mention that in the Catch Spirit Tomb episode. That can have Cherubi. I opened up that because I like a little bit of passageway. And you get some iron chunks from it too, which is a very expensive but valuable item for crafting balls. Another Burmy check. There's so many things to think about. Males, I don't really care too much about it, although the reason why I catch it is if you complete Burmy's Pokédex research and you have all the 3 forms to show for a quest, you can get a backup leaf stone that way. It doesn't take too long, and I like to prep my research that way. It's really nice. It's just kind of like if you're already in a battle with it, might as well catch it. And yeah, for the Wisp routing, essentially I'm kind of following it for the moment. Although I did ignore Wisp number 4 by the looks of it, which is something I regularly do, so that's probably I have to pick that up later. I got Scatterbanks in the set already, so that's why I did the research. Now I remembered, hey, there's a Wisp I haven't gotten yet. I don't have audio on for my own run because I'm yapping way too much with friends, so helps me to focus. And yeah, as you can see, some 80% research is in here, of course, so things are kind of normal. Here the rolls are kind of nice for some research. These are pretty good catch research. And I also picked up 1, which is minimum that I need. And I got a Cherubi out of this. Very, very, very best case right here. Getting Cherubi. Cherum is kind of likely here too. So, like, I'm ecstatic kind of at this point. Getting Cherubi out of the way. That's something I need to put into my party later on. Doing a mid kind of Mirelands crafting session. Because I need to stock up on balls and stuff. I saw myself getting low. And that's why I'm picking up ores and resources and everything. Because I always need to fill up on resources. There's so much to consider, so much to do. Like, you saw the amount of stealth sprays that I have, so that's something to consider. Now, Barboach is terrible for research, but I'm not gonna go into research specifics. That's like a tutorial series on its own eventually. I like to go over here, get the hope berries. And now to the movement that I don't do anymore. But it is a certain possibility. Like, I wouldn't go for these hope berries anymore at this point, because I don't need to do this climb anymore. But if you're here from the Catch Spiritomb video, I have this timestamped. This is the backup climb that I mentioned, where you go kind of like here, because you can use that little ledge to jump up here with a dismount, and then if you go to the left and dismount, I think it's to the left, or is it to the right? It has to be to the left. I remember it being to the left. There we go. You go into that corner where you kind of twitch a bit and then jump and dismount. You should be able to land on here to be able to climb back up. That's kind of like a backup if you don't get the Wisp up here. I don't know why I was like hesitating there so much. There's so many things there where have a little bit to improve on. And you just essentially jump with a slight right drift. Like, I was going pretty straight here, so I didn't make it. But this time, you'll see me position more to the right. And then you can kind of go straight, and that should be able to land you on the platform. That is the backup jump. And from here on out, it's kind of the same with the Wisps, and you can do a bit of research on some Pokemon if you want. It really depends on what research you're comfortable with. It's not as strict as 80%. You have a bit more variation possible thanks to distortions and stuff. Although you should definitely maximize research that is fast. I don't know what happened here, but that catch was not the smartest thing to do. It should get everyone angry. But I got a little lucky here. But I shouldn't have the unswatted for that catch. And I'm essentially exploring a little bit to do that research, because it's still the distortion timer running. So it doesn't matter too much, although at some point I should probably progress with the story. Anyway, Ursalunified. Nothing crazy, more party management, grabbing ores for the stones and resources. And then going over here to grab the Wisp. And in this case, I do warp. Fortunately, I can't show you the cool jumps that I wanted to do. I was low on resources, so I wanted to warp anyway. And now we're sorting our party a little bit with things to evolve. Like I'm putting Cherubi rolls into the party. I don't essentially need any of these anymore. This is so like there's no mandatory fight anymore. It's just evolving Pokemon at this point. So like say like Combi would be good here. If I don't have Casco and Silcoon both yet and I still have Wampus left, throw them in here. Like maybe like Teddiursa if you want to have Ursaring early in case you get early P-Block, so you can get that Evo out of the way early. Stuff like that. Where you kind of like just consider what you can do, and it's really, really nice. Just do a bit of party management, do inventory management. And now I've warped to the settlement because I did unlock the warp. And I did get a 15-minute distortion in this case. My timer is at 15:33 because of the mentioned thing with the timer. And actually, if you see where I set my marker here, this is where a satchel is. You see that thing, that is a satchel on the ground. You can not only expand your satchel slots, you can also pick up NPCs or other players' satchels if you have online enabled, which is not allowed for speedruns. And these satchels can be used because for every satchel you get a certain amount of merit points. And these merit points can be used to buy an Evo item that you might have missed, not gotten yet. And it's really, really, really nice that way to back up in case things are just not really ending up in your inventory. So yeah, in this case, I'm really, really happy I got my distortion. You see a little bit of like sparks like flashing on the screen. That's like a good way to tell that things are happening. That is distortion is appearing, and for the distortion appearance, there's a few spots that it can appear in. I think right now, with what we have what we have available, there's a spot here, here, back here, and then where the Krograng are, just directly below the camp. And where the Alpha Totera is another spot that unlocks when you have Basculegion unlocked. Because otherwise the game doesn't consider you as being able to go over there. But we can, with good movement. So I got one of those spots. I know, because it's spawned so far away, there's a bunch of minutes left for me to wait until it's actually active. So I know I still have a bunch of time to do research, do stuff. Right there, I just missed some throws, so I wanted to get that. I get a Stardust, which is a 1%. And it's fantastic. It's a guaranteed drop if it's sparkling on ore. Really good to have money all the time. But distortions tend to be your main money source. And here I'm just trying to get the mandatory Togetic catch out of the way. Got it in the last ball available, which is fantastic. Grabbing some more Wisps along the way. Seemingly I forgot about the Satchel, so that sucks. But yeah, it's kind of like that way. Just getting some mandatory catches out of the way. I'm keeping the sneezes in. And just doing progress wherever I can with our research and everything. But yeah. Now the distortion active. I'm hiding in the grass on purpose because Pokemon, when you're hidden in the grass, the Pokemon aren't gonna be automatically angry at you. I'm just discarding these blue shards immediately. They're useless, these shards. Try to not pick them up. But my Pokemon picked them up, unfortunately. Just wanted the Stardust for the money. And instantly I get one of the exclusive spawns, as I like to call them. This Umbreon is going to save me a ton of time on trying to grind friendship with Eevee. So I don't need to really farm the resource anymore once I'm done with it. Unfortunately, Luxray was kind of blocking my path here. I got it first try, which is fantastic. I might not get the Luxray. Yeah, and I trigger one of the 3 special spawns, as we call them. In every distortion, I think you can look it up on Cherubi where the locations are 3 special spawn slots. Before we finish the main story, we don't have the starters available as the spawn slots, but we have the full Evo line available for example, Porygon in this case. So we can get Porygon, Porygon 2, and Porygon Z, although it is very unlikely to get anything else other than Porygon most of the time. But yeah, I'm just catching some Pokemon here and there, just catching what I don't have yet, waiting for the next set of spawns to try to get Flareon, for example, which is the other more rare spawn possible in this distortion, or Eevees for that matter. I tend to like catch everything I need out of a set of spawns and then just run around, activate the next special spawn, which is over here, kind of like on this protrusion here. There we go. That's the next Porygon. I just catch it because it's kind of nice research to have. Every catch is 20 points for the Porygon line. And this is the item shape you need to really look out for. And the stone shape, which is kind of like a diamond shape. I don't know how to call it correctly, but you'll see the symmetrical shape. But yeah, in this case, unfortunately, it was an Electrolyzer, which is nice if you don't want to catch the Alpha Electivire. But usually at the end of the run, it is not hard to catch, so it's not really as worth it as any other item. But you can consider to finish that, to get that Pokemon with an Evo now, which is always nice in case you struggle with catching. And yeah, at this point, I got pretty much all the essentials out of this distortion. I got an Eevee, I got an Umbreon, I got my Porygon. I've checked for all the items. Like, I don't need to stay here anymore, but I sometimes I like to stay a little bit longer to try to get more EVs. You don't need to do it, and if you're like going for top times, I would definitely recommend against it. But yeah, for the moment, I think this is like for like someone who's just trying to seek a bit of consistency. I don't think it's too bad to stay, but definitely advising against it, especially because I know Hakri is gonna scream at me if I don't mention that. Because Hakri always mentions that I'm staying too long in these distortions. But you see, like 2 out of 2 is a finished task already. I have 20 extra points on large already too. Like, this is fantastic for points, but you're not really in troubles with research points, even though you should hit rank 6 after Highlands. So you can enter Icelands with rank 6. I'm sorry for all this yawning, but that's just something I cannot really avoid. But yeah, I got all the spawns. I got all my 3 large, so that's another point. More EVs. And then I'm like, yeah, I had enough here, because the distortion was about to end anyway. And yeah, I'm ready to progress to the second part of Mirelands. Unlocking the unknowns, ranking up. Sometimes, if you want, gamble for the 5%ers here again before you continue. I like to give it a second check usually, and in this case you already saw that I'm going to get a Firestone right now. So it was worth my time. Definitely, it is a mandatory item because of Arcanine, but Flareon also is very nice to complete that way. I got a Pichu up here, which is fantastic, to show that that spawn exists up here. I wouldn't need a Water Stone. Usually you get too many of them. But one thing I haven't done yet really is digging for Pokemon, for items. In this case, I don't need a Burmy, so just defeat it for a bit of research. And do more stuff. And I have unlocked the warp already, but I don't think it was that worth it, because I wanted to check for some spawns. So yeah, I end up just checking things. This should be... is that female? I'm pretty sure that should be a female, because otherwise I'm not that dead set on catching it. No, it's male. Okay. Still don't have a female yet as far as I'm concerned. And I got lucky. These Sudowoodo here have a chance to be Bonsly, which is one of the rarer Pokemon to get in this game. There's a few guaranteed ores here that I don't know exactly. There's like one here, one here. Like there should be 4 ores, kind of like in that general area around the Alpha Rhyhorn. I hope that helps enough. And up on the plateau where the Wisp is, south of that Rhyhorn area, that blue ore that gives you items from a black ore, that one can also have Bonsly in it. And in this case, in this point, I'm actually just checking for female Combi. I don't need much more with it. I just want a female. I'm not going for 12 catches. I don't think that's worth my points. So 6 catches, finishing with a female is good enough for me. And yeah, before I get to it, I haven't done any digging as far as I'm concerned, at least, watching this run. If you look at the map that I have provided in my notes, you'll see that some Ursaluna looking things are like marked with like a red, with like a black stripe across them. These spots have old verses that just waste a buttload of time for no reason. Don't dig there. It's just like I've just taken the map from Cherubi and labeled the Spiritomb spaces, so that's why these dig spots are still there. But every dig spot has a certain percentage of things to do. Maybe if I think about it, you have that sheet linked in the description for all the dig spot chances for every region. It's a bit different what has which weight. In this case here for Mirelands, we have a 7% chance to get a P-block every dig, which is fantastic. It's 3% in other regions, or maybe even 5% for some others, Evo stones. It's really different, but depending on where you are. And here I'm actually also collecting wood in this case, because you need 3 wood across the run, and this is a nice way to get some wood. And I haven't really visited the Turtwig spot, which is usually where I end up getting my 3rd wood. I just saw I got something that didn't fit, so I checked. It was beans on the ground. I accidentally saw that Geodude, so yeah, I can ignore that. Just finishing up using the wisps here, just getting all the wisps and finishing up the region, prepping for the next area with a party and everything. And yeah, I don't know why I'm checking Ginter. That's something I don't do anymore, because there's better items that would unlock if you check Ginter later. And the better items are just lean balls, wing balls, and bean cakes. Those would unlock after finishing up the mission. So normally I don't do this anymore this early, but yeah, this is something that has changed over the time. So it's not quite following my notes. Just don't pay attention to that particularly. But yeah. Going into Coastlands, the first thing that is interesting is I'm setting to midday because I want a specific day-night cycle. Things can be can have variations in here, but at the same time you can give yourself a bit more of like a cycle and stuff, which certainly helps a lot. And yeah, I'm just digging items here. Tumblestones are always nice. Picking up the wisps along the way, which you have seen in the Catch Spiritomb tutorial. If you haven't watched that yet, go watch it. Vulpix is a very good spawn to have. It's one of the rare Pokemon. And this one is important to pick up. Get a level 31 or higher Stantler, because that one will know Psychic Bash and will have it mastered. It masters Psychic Bash at 31, so just keep that in mind. Because we need it for later, because we need to do moves with it. In this case, I throw also one at the 30 in case the 31 doesn't catch for some reason. And Something I've mentioned in the Catch Spiritomb episode with the movement here. You can do this to climb up. It's much more sketchy. You see me like almost falling off here. Don't do it. Go to same variation that you see in the Catch Spiritomb run. I don't know why I did this back then. Probably I just didn't know better. And yeah, another Burmy check, which completes my Burmies. Still no female. Just kill the Beautifly there. I got a Growlithe, which is nice. So I need to go up on a higher plateau. And yeah, one thing I haven't really shown off yet, and that is the menu here. This is the first time I'm opening it. You'll have this 3-page thing. Just press to left or L to get to the third page immediately. I unfortunately pressed a bit too often to be on second page. And then you can claim gifts, and which is just merit points. And sometimes you might get the item that is displayed here or in the little icons. And this is especially good if you have a possibility to get level up items like candies. Those are very, very, very helpful for a run sometimes, just to get some levels if you haven't had them. They're really good for evolving your friendship evos, because leveling up and feeding items both just give you friendship. It's fantastic. And yeah, in this case, the Sunstone is the 7% item here, so I'm happy I got the Sunstone in this dig spot here, near the Alpha Walrein. And then, yeah, just picking up some Pokemon along the way. You see it's starting to get night. The reason why this is good is there is a Honchkrow that flies around here. So I'm waiting just a moment for it to spawn. Sometimes it just doesn't spawn. I don't know why, but sometimes it just fails to spawn. If that happens, just come back at a different point. It's not too bad, or you can catch the Alpha in Mirelands. One of the two options. And don't forget to activate this camp quest. Just drop down to the middle and you'll end up in the cutscene for that. It's fine. But yeah, I'm just picking up stuff along the way. And if you head over this wall here, this is a good spot to get Happiny and Chansey. Happiny, definitely get that. Chansey, like, it's not a must, but it's nice to skip an Evo, because Blissey is the only one that is like really guaranteed to spawn as a normal Pokemon. Chansey has a guaranteed Alpha, but that's pain to catch. And Happiny is the worst to get, but through the Spiritomb quests, through reporting that you've gotten a certain amount of Wisps, one of the rewards will be an Oval Stone, which is used to immediately evolve your Happiny. So that is one of the good things to get here. I always like digging up mud balls, which is fantastic. But yeah, just doing research here, the mandatory catch. And now we have the first case of bad weather. What does bad weather mean? There's a few weather conditions, which are the storms and a drought, in which a distortion cannot form. In these cases, if the distortion was about to spawn, at which minute marker it's going to appear is predetermined. And if it was to attempt to spawn and such a weather period is active, it will fail to spawn and it will reset your timer. So this is where it's crucial to have a Pokemon that needs move research, moves to evolve, like Stantler, because in a battle, the distortion timer is paused, but the weather timer still continues on, because mid-battle the weather can change as the time of day changes. So that is your main strat to avoid this issue of losing a distortion to bad weather. And in this case, I'm using the mandatory Chatot Fight. I'm just getting stuck on my turbo button here. I'm using the mandatory Chatot Fight to unlock the camp, to pass the time, because I need to win this fight anyway, and I do my agile Psyche bashes. They can miss, by the way, so just don't be disgruntled by that a little bit. My standard dice, but that's absolutely fine. And I got a bit of time pass, which is nice. One of the EVs is now in possession of a fairy move. The other one does not have one anymore, so I get the correct evos for friendship. Get my starter out of the way, which in this case I like to keep for the upcoming fight. Usually you don't really care too much about it because thanks to doing catch more stuff, you tend to be so over leveled that like things are gonna be very simple. So just don't worry too much about it. I like to worry about it, but it's not that important. But essentially what I do is a mix out of any percent and catch more. And that is like, I know Stantler is gonna be good for against Toxic Rogue. I just use my starter against Abomasnow. And then I finish up with Gastrodon in the kind of good old strat that you do with Mud Bomb and then Earth Power. So there's nothing too crazy about it. And as I'm evolving Ralts, one thing that is to note is when a Pokemon is ready to evolve through level up or friendship or anything, as long as it's ready to evolve by clicking evolve, it's going to get a boost in the experience gained. I think the multiplier is like 1.4, and that is a way to get more experience on your Pokemon in. So in this case, you see I waited until level 30 to start evolving Ralts because that's when it can evolve into Gardevoir. And that's how I get Gardevoir out of the way. I get a double Evo. I grab a Ramorite and then go over here, do a bit of digging, which is a spot, get a Kicking Sleeve. There's so many things to think about as always. There's so many things to pick up and do. And actually I want to show you this jump here, which is nice to get to the deck spot after the Wisp. If you go here, you can kind of like jump across here. If you jump late, you'll swim it for a moment, then you'll reach the ground again. And then you can get to the deck spot and do that, which is nice. And now you see me enter the fight and just stand around because my distortion timer, you can't see it in this tutorial right now, but if you look at my PV, it's sitting at 14 minutes 57 seconds, which is off by a few seconds towards the back anyway. But I don't want to run the risk of ending up with losing my distortion to having bad weather active. This thunderstorm has been going on for a while, probably rerolled into a thunderstorm. It's 10% in this region, and I immediately roll into a drought afterwards, which is fantastic. But now I'm gambling a little bit, because I know I can kind of like make my way forward a little bit. And I should be good on the timer, so I just go a little bit, and then I wait again. And then luckily it changes to rain, which is nice. I don't know if I got a female combi by this time. Probably not by the way I looked at it. And yeah, I'm just catching a few Pokemon here and there. Chatot actually, thanks to the defeat, has a different way to be finished, and that's catch 4th day. You don't even need to feed, which is nice. But it's hard to catch, so it might be annoying. I get another drought, but we are now already 19 minutes on the distortion timer, so I don't need to worry. The next point after 15 is 25. Finish up Togepi research. And because it's day, there's a neat little interaction with Iscan you can do. And that is, Iscan's gonna ask you, do you want to wait until the night? This box does not appear when you're here at night, so you don't see it in any percent runs. But this is a way to go to the night, especially if you have a drought, which is itself like a 10% to happen. Essentially, nighttime, if a drought were to happen, it's just clear weather. So that bad weather condition cannot exist in the night. So your chance of bad weather goes from 20% down to 10% for every given weather reroll. So it's a nice way to minimize the risk of running into bad weather for your distortion. And now I know that until 25 I should usually be good to go. Sorted my party with some space for shallows, as I like to do that. Got enough Firestone, which is nice. Some more dig spots. Get the water spawns here, which is nice. I have way too many shallows in my party. But I guess I don't have much to evolve at the very moment, so it's fine. And now we come to another crucial spot, and that is the island, Firespit Island. any of these have a low chance to be Magby. Unfortunately, I didn't get Magby in this case. I didn't get Magby during thunderstorms, which is weird, even though it's less likely during that, doing less fire Pokemon friendly weather, so it's really weird. But yeah, I never really got a Magby first visit, which sucks a bit, but that's okay. And I finally, after many attempts, I get my female Burmy, which is fantastic, as I'm coming up on the 25-minute marker. This is where my decision to do the fight a bit earlier might have been a bit bad, because I did use up my nighttime. But it's not too bad. There's a flying Staraptor to catch. It's a bit more research, and because of it being flying, the Feather Ball has a nice catch boost, so it's actually a bit more reasonable to catch. It's not too bad. I actually got a Leaf Stone from a Leaf Pile earlier, so Burmy backup is not needed, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm up here at the Growler spot to do some feeding and catching. And I did get a 25 along the way. I don't know when it triggered. I think it triggered... there we go. It triggered right here in front of my face. I skipped a bit too much. And you saw what I just opened the map there. The reason why is I'm gonna show you. When I open the map, the Distortion has an indicator of how long it's gonna take until it's ready, and when it disappears. And that's like, you have this outer circle of like affected area for the Distortion, and this inner circle is essentially a timer. And if this is full, the Distortion is gonna activate. And I just looked at this and I saw it's at half, so I have a rough estimate of how much time it's gonna take until it's active, which is about a minute from now. So I have a bit of time to do some digging and stuff, and the moment this thing appears, you do not run away from it anymore, because for some reason that has a chance to despawn your special spawns, which is the only type of spawn that does not disappear normally. Some respawns due to weather. And in this one, we need a Magnemite. So Magneton first is not good. I should probably pick up that Comet Shard, and probably will do. I get a Magnemite, so that's fine. Every Magnemite, every Pokemon of that line has an 8% chance to drop Metal Coat, which is absolutely necessary if you don't want a Distortion in Icelands to get Scissor. There's no other way to get that Pokemon. I get myself a Flareon, which is fantastic. I get a Dubious Disc. The Porygon Evo items are one of the sketchiest. I like to call them cringe items. The Dubious Disc upgrade the claws for a Sneasel. You have Metal Coat, you have a Magnemizer. Those are kind of like the cringe items, because these are Pokemon that are essentially just hard to obtain. The fossils kind of count towards that too, but they don't need items to exist. And that's kind of like the stuff that I really worry about. You have I have them marked in a separate way on my tracker, if you look at it on my streams. So yeah, I'm just clearing out the Distortion. Alakazam is a really nice rare spawn here. It's like, I don't know how much of a percentage that is, but it certainly exists, and if I catch that, I don't need to worry about getting the alpha later, which is really nice. So I'm picking it up, I got it, which is fantastic. I almost die, get more stuff. Rhyperior is also kind of nice, so I just went into it. If I just failed to catch it, I got it first try, which is fantastic. The reason why I went into battle is, as you can see, the Distortion was about to disappear. There's like an audible kind of like end of the Distortion countdown kind of happening. It's gonna be like, you'll hear it. So yeah, I'm still targeted, discarding everything I got, doing some evos. The reason why I evolved these, I'll just go back to this. I'll just finish the point. With the Distortion, once you hear that kind of like end kind of theme, you have a few seconds until it actually goes away. And whenever you're in a battle, in a Distortion, that actually pauses the advancement of the distortion itself. So if you have a Pokemon that's like a rare spawn, you really want to catch it, especially like a shiny or so, backstrike it. Just backstrike it, you're safe that way. You have a better catch chance and it can't run away. So, yeah. Let's go to Tentacool Dominion, why I chose to evolve him in this case. I had a pretty fast-ish area where I just like did a lot of focus on the day catches, so I didn't really have much focus on the water catches. I could be much more optimal. In this case, I just wasn't really that optimal in the run, but that doesn't matter. It is still my current PB, so I'm rolling with it. These Pokemon are a bit horrendous to catch in the water. If you do Shiny Charm, you know what I'm talking about. So I'd rather evolve them. And here I'm just doing some stuff, doing evos, sorting out my party. Because I got Flareon, I know I can... because I have enough Firestones, I just evolve Vulpix. I don't need to catch the Alpha Ninetales later anymore, even though it's not even that bad of a catch. Using my Sunstorm, my Thunderstone, and then I'm just finishing up the story at this point. Caught 70 Pokemon, it's nice. I got a double rank up. I'm at 10,000 points already. So I know leaving Highlands with rank 6 is not gonna be a problem. And now we get to Ginter. First of all, the first option, that's Thunderstone. That's fantastic. I'm buying that immediately. Second option is Rotom item. Ignore that. It's a bit expensive. Third option is the shoes. Now the shoes have the similar kind of weight as the Rotom items in terms of priority on appearing. I'll link that chart down below too. You wanna buy the shoes to increase the likelihood to get a non-prioritized item from Ginter. So you have more chance to get Evo items from Ginter later on in the run. And this is literally the first time you can get the shoes. If you look at the notes, I have them marked in this orangey color. So yeah, I advanced this quest to get the Wisps. Again, sorting out my Evos, using the Thunderstone immediately. And, you know, just continuing on with my stuff, even though the difference is I just immediately went into the cave, I didn't catch anything. And that is a party management reason. Reason number one, I want Gibble in my party at the moment. So I pick up Gibble, because I want to evolve this Gibble into Garchomp eventually. It's really easy to catch, so I'm not too worried about it. I have one open slot. I'm going for the research on Zubat, because I haven't caught a Zubat yet, so might as well catch it that way. And this is the other Pokemon that I find important for myself. Kind of a research thing, because a strong Mud Bomb is like Mud Bomb and Aqua Tail are research, and I like to use this against the first Skuntank. You see. And it's just kind of like, you gotta catch the Pokemon at some point, and evolving Barboach, I don't think that's like really that worth it. And then I dodge the Alpha, as I've already just managed to show off on the Catch Spiritomb tutorial. Grab one more Pokemon, and as I'm exiting, if you look at my PB, my Distortion timer is still at 0. The reason why is, if you go in like a cave, like kind of like, you can call it a sub area, that resets your Distortion timer. That is important when we get to Icelands, to the temple. That is like leaving the area. It is going to get rid of your Distortion timer, or Distortion if it's spawned. Just keep that in mind. Don't enter like a house or anything if you have a Distortion. And that is something that can happen on accident on Coastlands, because of triggers not loading in immediately for the for speaking to Iscan. But yeah, this is where my stuff starts. I like the stealth up, helps with Heracross. I don't have that yet, didn't catch in the Distortion earlier. More leaf piles, more dig spots. And I get a shiny stone really quickly. That's the only one you really need in terms of items still. I already got all the other ore items that are interesting. The Firestone, Waterstone, Thunderstone, those are important. 2 each, apart from Waterstone you only need 1. And then a shiny stone if you don't want to catch the Alpha Roserade. So you can just evolve a Rosalias. So shiny stone is good for that. And yeah. I actually go with Gastron here. Surprisingly, I don't use the Whiscash. Normally I use Whiscash here. Maybe it's different already. But both are listed as an option. And we have perfect case of what happens if you mess up. I had no mess ups in the Catch Spiritomb PB. But you see like how this is grayed out. Even though I just landed. Because the game just doesn't consider that as a valid mount spot. And even for dismounting it might be invalid. Which is why it goes grayed out every now and then. That's just kind of like how the game's scripted. And this is the dismount variation of getting to the Wisp. Which I'm happy that I can show off. But it is not the best kind of option. And yeah, I'm again doing a bit of research. Grabbing the Pokemon with the catch boost of being unspotted. And this is a very fast camp to unlock. It's very important. Because it's a good warp location to go to for research purposes. Especially if I don't have a Cherubi yet that like ring around the lake. All the trees have Cherubi Cherum in them, which is fantastic. Using Stantler here to do some research. And then Golduck to finish up that fight. And then I actually warp back. After all of that, because usually it's evening by then. Which is perfect to deal with these with the extra research. And I actually climbed this way up here. And then I end up where my Catch Spiritomb path kind of like leads to. It's kind of like convergence of paths. And it's essentially kind of like a similar path now that I take towards the Fable Spring or whatever it's called. I actually don't have the name in my head. But yeah, I'm just doing some research, picking up some Pokemon, doing some digging. And especially the claws here are important, so I'm starting to catch Sneasels. I'm using Great Balls because their catch rate is fucking absurdly good. Like, you can catch them with Pokeballs above level cap. It's insane. Just getting rid of a bit of an item to try to get the claw into my inventory. Didn't get a claw yet, so that's a bit sad. Grabbing... Oh yeah. I tend to grab my Basculins here. They also have a crazy good catch rate, but they're very easy to lose as a spawn. They scare super easily. So... yeah, just throw a ball on them. It usually should work out. Meanwhile, every Clefairy here can be clever. Just look out for that. These are nighttime only spawns. But it doesn't look like I got a Clefairy here, so... yeah, I usually get Unknown P here. It's my favorite Unknown to get, and then... yeah, I don't have the P block yet, so I cannot make use of the full moon. It needs to be full moon. Every 2 nights the moon cycle advances by 1. And I don't know how many cycles there are. It's very close to real life actually. So like it kind of like makes sense if you have real life moon cycle knowledge to be able to read the moon phase correctly. Oh yeah. Magnezone, I not only need it, but it's also a good source for Metalcoat if it wants to drop that. The only other source that is available at this point is a Steelix, regular Steelix only. Alphas don't drop Evo items like that. Regular Steelix that spawns in Fieldlands Distortions very rarely. I think it's like a 2% to spawn. There's also an option to get a Metal Coat. And in this case, I get a super early Distortion. Very happy about that because I already know my research is good to leave. And it's super close by too, so it only needs like at most 2 minutes to be active. So I can do a bit of catching, try to get a Rotom if I have one. But it's just mischievous, so I just do the research here. Checked again how long it takes to be active. I get it like Vanados. I see Evo items here. Again, Electrolyzer, unfortunately, getting more EVs. I got 7, so I'm good on them. This is also a nice catch to avoid Evo, but the Evo item is a mandatory thing. And yeah, I'm just clearing this out. I got both the fossils, luckily, so there's nothing to worry about. Doing the mandatory fight, just getting through that. And now I'm sorting my party a little bit, because I want to evolve some Pokemon. Cheetor and Cranidos are always ready to evolve, so that's not a big deal. Got Basculin in my party because I want to evolve that. And finishing up everything here. I already got a Magmarizer, which is fantastic. I didn't realize that because I'm skipping so much. Yeah, just getting some Pokemon that I haven't had yet. Rotom. I'm now getting 2 Cypher for the Evos. Getting more Sneasels. Probably not a Claw yet. No Metal Coat for this. And just, you know, just grabbing more Pokemon, more items. Because I know I have a bit of a plus. I finish up the Evo with the 20th Side Shield Bash, Agile Style. And then I now finish up Rhyhorn. I get the Augurite from digging, which is fantastic. The only other way to get an Augurite is from an 8% drop from Graveler catches, which is also a very nice way to finish, because it actually isn't too bad to finish through just catching. 10 caught is 4 tasks. I got Claw here. I don't know why I evolved Gibble, but I just did, so we have to live with that. I probably shouldn't have done that. But yeah, some things are unoptimal, but it's fine. I got 1 Claw already, which is fantastic. Might be the minimum needed, because you can get Weavile through a spawn directly. And yeah, I'm just digging, finishing up some stuff. Catching some Pokemon I haven't had yet. Because I don't really need to care about research at this point, I just need to catch. And yeah, just pick up my Wisps that I still need, and just doing things. And in this case, I'm just doing a big Evo session, doing every Evo I can do already. And I end up with more than enough research, so I want to check my research right now, so I'm just gonna quickly go to this spot. But yeah, an hour into this. Oh my god, almost at 15k. So yeah, hitting rank 7 is very easy. But yeah, after an hour, I've looked at the first part of my PV already. There's not gonna be a segment here, it's just I take a break at this moment, so yeah. We just have to get through this for a moment. This is gonna take a while, because I tend to have a full break for an hour. If you watch streams, you'll see this more often than not. But yeah, the break rule is be on the screen once footage stops and once footage starts again, or when you have this full thing included in your PV. Just be on that with synced on, you'll be fine. But yeah, make myself my Ultra Balls, which is the best ball available right now. And I sort my party again for Evos and stuff. I leave a bit of space because I like to get Bergmite and Snorunt into here. Although Bergmite is the only one that I need to evolve. Everything else I can catch directly. Frostlass Alpha isn't too bad to catch. You have to get the Alpha. And yeah, I unlocked the camp, the settlement early. And this is the other thing that I wasn't able to show off in the Catch Spiritomb run. So you can kind of like drop down here. I like to grab with Sneasler here so I don't die. And get the Wisp that way. So yeah, because it's not Catch Spiritomb, we don't need to clear all the Wisps yet. Just the ones that are on our path. Clear all the puzzles. Stealth up. have a cake ready that is not salt. And that is a fantastically bad spawn point, because that is easy to get angry at you, but it starts to turn around, which is absolutely best case. And I don't have raspberry probably, so I just use a cake. But raspberry, cake, plus ultra ball is usually as guaranteed as it gets. And that was a very nice first strike catch. Just doing the fight as 80% as possible. And then for Breviary, the thing you can do is not Ice Fang. There's a safe strat, which is strong Icicle Crash. And there's a risky strat with Blizzard, which is a move that can miss. So that is the way to defeat using Gallade, which is a Pokemon I put into my party once I have done my warp after the settlement. Because Gallade and Gallade are going to feature in my party for a while. This is going to be my core for the team. There I get Overlook, which is not too bad of a Pokemon to catch actually. And now, if you look at my notes, it says I need to buy Shadow Ball, Poison Jab, and Drain Punch. In this case, Gallade doesn't know any of these moves yet. There's always a chance, because an Alpha knows 3 of the latest level up moves, and a Tutor move on top. That's a way to save up on Tutor moves if it ends up getting them early. You don't need to master them because they're automatically mastered already. That's the perk of the Alpha, that the moves that it knows are already mastered. Then we get kicked out. And yeah, this is where we hope for a 5-minute distortion. We grab everything that we haven't had yet, along with the Wisps. This is another good spot here to get a Peony actually. And Gyarados flying is a good option too. It's pretty easy to catch that way. We gotta hit the tree at some point for that. We can evolve Eevee here into Leafeon. And I got my 5-minute distortion before I even got to Lopunny, which trolled me for some reason. So I went back and forth. Chimchar is a must-have pickup. It can there's a rare chance for these spawns to be the Evo. Like Turtwig and Chimchar both have that problem. Pretty sure Piplup is a guaranteed one though in Coastlands, so yeah, could be an option, could be an issue. Grabbing some more stuff like the Flying Togekiss, some more Pokemon, sorting out my party, because that Distortion was super far away, it takes some time to appear. So I'm just finishing up stuff, get the Snorlax, run to the Distortion. I still have to wait a while because I kind of like got done with everything that I needed to do. And yeah, now I start to catch my Sneasels. Licky is a very good pickup here because Licky for some reason is the only Pokemon that spawns in the random spawns that does not get angry at you. It's just not possible for it to get angry at you. Yeah, I got some dupe items unfortunately. No claws, so I just leave because I already got everything else that I needed. Here, it doesn't really matter which one you pick. I still like the Dialga. And then Crobat, I like to catch the flying one just before I get Alpha Lucario. And then, you know, just follow along the Wisps. Get the Alpha Frostlass, it's easier to catch that way. Blissey is easy to catch, it's got a few guaranteed spots here. And I actually luck out with a 5-minute distortion here, which is kind of crazy to say. So that remove, and like, I already had a metal coat apparently. I don't even know when I got a metal coat. I'll quickly look through. I think I got my metal coat here. There you go. Got a metal coat from this already, but yeah, as you can see, if you get lucky, you can get that distortion spawn, and then you can get free guaranteed Scizor that way. I do my evos, get the Zorua, which I need. Get all the Wisps that I need. I don't even look at the Distortion, because there's literally nothing that is important for me. The focus that I have right now is trying to get that item that I just dropped, my second claw. And with that, the only Evo items that I'm missing, technically missing, is a linking cord to get Golem without having to catch the Alpha. But it's not too unreasonable to catch. Same with Clefairy and the Moonstone, so don't worry too much about that. The only thing that I need to worry about is I don't have upgrade yet, and I will not be seeing any further distortions. So, yeah. Normal 80% procedure at this point, with some evos spiked in the middle of it. And now we get to one of the saddest misclicks I've ever had in my life. And that is this very moment here. I've lost like 5 minutes to this, which I'm a bit sad about, but that's just how it is. I wanted to go down to close combat, press the wrong way, and then I couldn't let go of up, and I missed close combat. And that just, you know, put me in a really bad spot to finish this fight. And eventually I finished the fight, but the time loss is very big, so don't be like me. But yeah, Mirelands, next visit. You pick up a bunch of alphas. Wisps you might have not had yet. I somehow never got a female combi, so I just catch the alpha. Good backup in my opinion. There's a mandatory alpha Vespiquen fight that I don't want to deal with. I want to have some other catch modifiers like Backstrike. I go into this corner here to try to get Turtwig. But you see a small problem. I didn't get Turtwig. There's a 2% chance for the Turtwig to be a Grotto. I got the Grotto. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but I got a Grotto. And now I pick up the Alpha Sliggoo, which I like. It's level 50, just needs rain to evolve. Reset the time of day, so I get Turtwig. At least I don't need to evo, but there was plenty of travel time that I kind of lost to that. And yeah, more satchels. I think I'm at like 900 something, I think. Exactly 900. So I just need 100 more points to be able to get upgrades. So just 2 satchels, which is fantastic. Normal 80% stuff. The only deviation here is I want to buy 10 Sword Cap, 10 Iron Bark Tongue, and 10 Pepper Plants. I just buy up to 10 because that's all I need. Because I need those items to be able to craft Aux Guards and Aux Power, and then I need 5 King's Leaf to be able to craft this item. That's why I needed the King's Leaves to begin with, and the rest I just use for max potions because it's kind of nice. And the wood I need later because that's the requirement to obtain the Fairy Plate. But yeah, I just grab the Pokemon I need. Specifically, I need Gliscor, because that is one of the main strat Pokemon that we need for Volo, specifically Giratina. And that Pokemon can also learn Poison Sting. So that could be that is like the perfect Pokemon to deal with legendaries that you have to fight. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I'm checking for Cleffa. I didn't get a Cleffa, but I got the Clefairy, so that's nice. Got Golem out of the way. Because it's night, I evolve Weavile. I teach the moves that they need to have. In this case, Drain Punch, Poison Jab, Shadow Ball, Psychic are the moves for Gallade, even though we don't really use Psychic. For Frostlass, I just give it Shadow Ball. That's all I need to care about. Because all I want is this. I actually don't even need to teach it Shadow Ball anymore. Because we don't even do this anymore. What we do now is I just crunch the first Pokemon away, the Mismagius. And then I just Icicle Crash this Gardevoir to do some damage if I survive. And then I just throw Gliscor out. which has Poison Jab and Area Ace. Well, Area Ace you might need to you will need to teach. I always teach it over Accessor. But with Poison Jab and Area Ace, you're good to go with Place Score. And afterwards, you can place Poison Jab with Poison Sting for the chance to poison your legendaries. And then, yeah, afterwards, come out of fight, get the Pokemon boosted up and healed, and then just click whatever is super effective. That's all you really need to know. And what I like to do is Agile style Earth Power. It removes half the health usually. Otherwise I feel like it's a bit too sketchy with a possible range, so I don't want to deal with that. And then just throw a ball until the coin flip hits or something. It's pretty simple, don't really think too much about it. You get 10 gifted regardless of having out balls or not. Then, oh my god. As usual, like any percent, you just use your legendary for this because you need to have it in the party anyway to leave the village. I give Cleffa another check and then run up, do this. Actually, an interesting part is with Volo being around. Before the Kamado fight, you can actually buy full restores from Volo, which is really nice. It's like the full enhanced market, which is really nice. But yeah. Let's get to the first stuff that is new. So when I wake up, I like to sort inventory, just get the quest sorted out. And what you do after you have this done, you go over to the professor, because at this point, if you speak to the professor, you get the other 2 starters you haven't picked yet just gifted to you. Oshawott and Rowlet, which I put in my party. So I can get those out of the way. I'm checking for Munchlax at this point. And then I go over here to fight Vespiquen. This is also where the combo of Agile Area Ace into Area Ace is fantastic. Or maybe even strong if you don't kill. And yeah, I'm just keeping the starters around for a while. I get my merit points together to buy an upgrade, to get Porygon done. I craft more balls in this case. I don't know why I did this. I didn't even have Gigaton balls unlocked yet, so I'm very sad about that. That was the second very big mistake that I've had. And when we now go to the Ancient Retreat, we get access to plate things. And yeah, nothing interesting here. Waterstone. Electrolyzer, nothing crazy here. With Rotom item at the top. And now I go arrange my party. The reason why I need to arrange my party is at this point now in Coastlands, after that load thing, we need Overquill, Buizel, and Mantike in our party. And at evening, if we swim into this arch here, we get the Manaphy unlocked after we've already picked up the quest way earlier. It's noted on the notes entering Highlands, I think. So don't worry too much about it. Now I run down, check for Magby. It's actually good weather for that because it's sunny. So yeah, I check, get unlucky. And yeah, time for Heatran. I like to use Overquill as the mover to use an Aqua Tail. You can miss, that's fine. But there's no real good way to status it with its typing. And then I pick up all the mud balls. If you're done with stun items for legendaries, just pick up, like, leave Coastlands, enter Coastlands into that cave, and you'll get a new set of mud balls. It's fine that way. And yeah, at this point, I get Manaphy, Phione. You see these kind of like shields? These need to be broken first before you can start hitting your stun items. At this point, if you look at my inventory, I'll quickly switch here. You see I have a shit ton of feather balls. The reason why I have feather balls is these are my shield breaking items essentially, because they have great range to throw. And I essentially just break the shield using that item. And I go over here, get some catches done. I got the Alpha Emporium, which is fantastic. Sort out my party a little bit for evos. And yeah, now with the other legendaries, don't be afraid to catch them out of battle. You can even stun lock them. Only Cresselia doesn't work that way, like the Pokemon with a shield don't really work that way. Don't worry too much about it. We need to get Heatran done first, otherwise we wouldn't be able to enter this place to get Regigigas. At this point, I wouldn't even damage that way. I would just get my my Gliscor out, strong poison sting to poison it, and then I have a good catch rate already. So now Mesprit just out of battle, nothing crazy. And then Cresselia has the very annoying feature of, like, you see the status effect applied to us? That inverts my controls. And essentially, that lasts until the shield is broken. Because the shield is broken, I can now stun it. It likes to charge us, so I just use that. And then, try again and again. Eventually, I catch it. And yeah, another clever check, which I think looks like it's successful. Got a clever, fantastic. So Magpie and Munchlax are the last ones that I need to worry about. So that's really nice. And now I'm starting to buy some more moves, which Dark Pulse for Gliscor, then Ice Punch, Glass Gleam for Gallade. Essentially, Area Ace would be on this slot, and I'd override Poison Jab with Poison Sting if I would do a run now. My notes are slightly left to be updated still. Doing that after I record this, so it should say September 2025 as the latest update when you look at them. But there's a few things I still need to update, but otherwise than that, it's very simple in terms of arranging the moves. Ice Punch here, Psychic will be replaced later too. Actually, no, it should be replaced now. I just forgot. Then more evos to do because Masada's already high enough level. Then a Master Dark Pulse, Ice Punch. Poison Jab you can also master if you want. It can be useful sometimes, but it's not really that important. I evolve the Happiny and stuff with the items that you guaranteed. Then I sleep a little bit. Just always set to night if you want to get Ursa Luna. So yeah, just set night again and again. Just keep checking. You'll be fine. And now, yeah, I do this. Get Spiritomb, get this done. And now, because I want to get grid items to boost my Gallade stats, specifically I want everything on 3 effort levels. And the defensive stats of HP, defense, and special defense, I want them on 10. That is the safe strat if you want to go safe. Add level 80 to that and you should always be safe. Just release a box of fairly strong Pokemon. Kind of like a middle ground of strong and weak. Kind of like a level 30 to 50 range is perfect. Because you kind of want everything a little bit. In this case, I set everything to 3 and everything else to 10. Then give it to level 80, even set it to 81. You don't need to do that, 80 is enough. I didn't need to use that rare candy on Gallade. But yeah, I just work my way through the fight with every move that is super effective. Don't worry about it. And here's where you need the free wood. Because then Kogita just gives you the Pixie Plate, which is fantastic. Then you go out, meet with Volo at the rune here. Then you go up, fight Volo. The things to mention here is it can hypnose you. If you have a Chesterberry with you, fantastic. Full heal is also good. But the reason why I mentioned the full restore is specifically the full restore is the best option ever. Because then you can not only afford having taken a hit, you can also get rid of your sleep at the same time. So let's say you boost. then you boost, you get put to sleep, and you get hit, and then you're good to go. Like, you can get rid of both problems at the same time, which is why full restore is worth it. Then you have super effective moves, and it's always good to be kind of like low level, low HP with your HP stat at this point, because you for the ideal moves, it is very good for Giratina to just get rid of your Gallade at this point, and then you boost up again. You get the combo here. It's all mentioned in the notes, so I'm not going too much into detail. And you just kind of like do that and finish up Volo. So now at this point, I have essentially 3 tasks left. Get Manaphy, this is number 1. Get Munchlax, number 2. And get the last legendaries, this is number 3. And then I just evolve Electabuzz into Electivire because I got the item. And yeah, because I want to start that way. I got this Thunderstorm for Thunderous, so I go for Thunderous. One thing to note for these is something I didn't even know myself. Shen knew about it somehow. In this game, you still have a few weather effects that actually apply in terms of changing move things, like weakening fire moves if it's raining, for example, or in this case, the storm moves. If it's Thunderstorm, they're 100% accurate. So yeah, I'm breaking the shield 3 times, then it's stunned after the 3rd shield has been broken, and then I try to catch it out of battle, and if it doesn't catch, I have my Pokemon ready. In the future, that'll be Gliscor for the strong poison sting, for the guaranteed poison for a status. But yeah, and then just catch, and then just use the moves, Agile style 3 times, you're good to go. You need to do that on Thunderous, Tornadus, and Landorus, because that's the only way to unlock Enamorous. You need to do the research. I get Manaphy kind of first try. And I told you earlier in the tutorial, I get this thing during thunderstorms, and I got it during a thunderstorm again. It is just classic. It's fucking guaranteed for me that way. And when you're already here, might as well pick up Giratina too. Same thing applies with poisoning, that I'll do in the future. My notes will say it, don't worry too much about it. I didn't get a storm in Icelands, which is a snowstorm. So Landorus is my next target to catch. I don't have too much of an instant here, so that's fine. Just a second revisit needed to get Munchlax, and the last move. Then I order my party already, so I don't need to do any party management anymore. And this is the first of the 2 moments where I like to get rid of the alpha that is around, because I find it a bit more comfy this way. So I just defeat the Gallade, so I have a bit more space to run around, although you can accomplish the same thing with Stealth Spray and a bit of caution. But it's just personal preference. Probably shouldn't do that if you want to save like 20 seconds. Same here with Alpha Skuntank, even though Alpha Stunky even spawned here too, but that is not really that much in the middle. So it's not too much of a nuisance, and again I have to go into battle. I don't think you can kill Enamorous with strong poison sting. It's not a stab move, but you never know. You don't have boosted attack, so there's this weak move, so maybe you're fine. Maybe if you crit you kill, but it should be fine, but you don't need moves anymore for that. And yeah, I already got the Evo ready. I didn't click on Evo yet. I wanted to see if it's a shiny or not, then I would have caught it. So yeah, I just walk along, get the Evo, and as long as you have everything, like if you don't have Manaphy Phione, but you have everything else, Arceus is still unlocked because Arceus does not need Manaphy Phione. But for catch more, because for the category definition, it's nice to catch everything that's already available in the game without need for any other games. Manaphy Phione only need knowledge from other games, but are already available without having save files, which is why we include them to have a nice 240 after we get done with Arceus. So, this is the first time we actually have a proper fight. I did gloss over a little bit over a Heatran, which just get rid of the shield with the mud balls. Anything that's incinerated through like contact, like Spot Apricorn, is not gonna work. Snowball is not gonna work. But yeah, for Arceus, this is the kind of like best case. You'll see if you look at ILs, you'll see them like kind of like dodging into Arceus, minimizing the amount of animations on screen to minimize lag and maximize inputs. This is kind of like the new way where you throw to, dodge to a side, throw to, dodge to a side until it's done with its moves. The amount of times it does this is always the same, so don't worry too much about it. This is the judgment attack. You don't really have too much space for a throw. You can space one out if you're good at the game, but if you're just starting out, just dodge for every judgment, don't worry too much about it. And whenever you reach half health, whatever attack is currently happening will just be interrupted. And it's gonna do a cry. And then it's gonna be attackable again. For phase number 2, it's gonna warp away, have this pink aura around that will hurt you if you're standing in it. So move out of it, start attacking it, and then it's going to use Shadow Force, which is kind of cool. You can throw some wilds there, and then it's gonna judgment you. That's kind of like always fixed. And now whenever whatever you're lucky or unlucky for, you'll get this ring attack, or you get a judgment early. But I kind of got lucky here, so it's fine. So yeah, that is everything. Somehow we got through this much more quickly than I thought I would get. I guess the post game is really simple if you break it down. It's just catch some legendaries. That's kind of like it. There's not much to it. Most of it is happening in early game actually, when you have the distortions. That's kind of like the specialty for catch more. And yeah, next episode, Shiny Charm, will be a bit shorter because there's not too much to mention. I will just quickly mention a few research things that are important. So yeah, it's just a quick kind of like additional thing for this. Don't worry too much about it. And yeah, hope you like what you heard. Hope this helps a little bit to get started with catch more. This category really just needs experience. Just play the game over and over again. You'll be fine. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. And see ya in the last tutorial. Bye bye.